If you've been trying to lose body fat and you want to know what the best diet is to help you get results, then I'm here to help, because I know how frustrating it can feel when you really want to make a change to your body, but every single diet that you try always ends up failing. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through what I think is the #1 diet to help you lose body fat. And I'm not just saying this lightly, because I've been a fitness coach for over 4 years now, and I've used this exact same diet and approach with hundreds of clients to help them get some incredible results over time. So stick around and let me break this process down for you easily. All right, guys, so before I go through this, I want to explain why this actually works so well and why I feel like this method of dieting is going to work so well for a lot of you, okay? And that's because most of the time, and most diets, they're completely unrealistically restrictive, okay? And by that, what I mean is you're either cutting out different food groups, you're restricting yourselves way too much for any of the fun things in life, and it's just a really boring diet to be on. It's just a really horrible, painful diet to be on. And that's what most diets can be like. When people think of diets, they think it's horrible, it's boring, you're always going to be completely starving, and you're going to have little to no freedom. And that's not really what we want. That's why a lot of diets fail, because eventually that willpower runs out, you can't take it anymore, and you go off track and you quit, you know. And the second reason is they're complex. There's some diets that are very complex out there, and when I say this, I'm talking about the diets that have macro splits, where you have to have X amount of protein, X amount of carbs, X amounts of fats, and they just don't really work for normal people like us, you know, people who are busy guys. We have working lives, and you know, we also have a social life, friends, family, relationships that we abide by and we like to have fun with as well, you know. And when you get to the end of your day and you've got 21 grams of fat and 6 grams of carbs to fill, you're thinking, how on earth am I supposed to do this? And people end up going off track, you know. There's a lot of complexity to some diets that personally, for the guys who I train and people like me, we don't actually need, okay? And the last reason is that they don't work around you, okay? A lot of diets don't work around you. When you have a busy day in work and you have to skip lunch because you're on meetings all day, or when you get home last minute and your partner's booked a meal to go out late at night. And these are the times when a lot of people will end up going off track with the nutrition, because they have such a rigid and restrictive diet plan in place that they don't know how to work around these occasions. They don't know how to work around these things, okay? And that is why the way I approach nutrition with myself, with my clients, is a little bit different, because we make eating, we want to make it work around your life, okay? So it can work around your job, it can work around your working hours, it can work around your social life. So you always have a plan in place, and you can always stay accountable and you can always stick to the plan. It wants to be flexible and adaptable to your life. So when things go wrong, you know what to do to put a plan in place. When you have that meal out, when you have the few snacks in the office, you know how to work your diet and transition your diet around it so you can still stay on track. You're not panicking, you're not going off track, you're not thinking, fuck it, and then you throw your progress out the window and you kind of go off track, okay? And we always follow that science of fat loss. So we want to do these two things in a way that follows the rules of fat loss, that follows the science of fat loss, all right? So that you can actually lose body fat and you actually know what you're doing along the way to lose body fat, okay? So now, here's what I want. So when I'm gonna go through this, firstly, I want to explain that your calories and your protein, they're gonna come first, okay? Now this is the science part, okay? Because the first thing you need to work out when you're on a diet is what your calorie intake is and what your protein intake is. Now, unless you're an absolute expert, you've done this for years, you've tracked your calories for years and years and years, and you know exactly what you're eating, then you don't necessarily need to log and track your calories. But for even people like me, people like you, track your calories, okay? Because you will know everything that's coming in your body, right? You'll know all the data, you'll know exactly the amount of calories that are coming in, you'll learn so much about food, and you'll know exactly the amount of calories you need to get in a calorie deficit, right? Because for fat loss, you need to be in a calorie deficit, yeah? So how do we do this then? Super easy way that you can calculate your calories is this. So you want to take your body weight in pounds and times that by 12. That's going to give you a steady amount of fat loss, all right? But then if you want to go a little bit quicker and a little bit faster fat loss, then take your body weight in pounds and times it by 10. And that's going to give you faster amount of fat loss. So quick example of this here, 200 pounds, let's say I weigh 200 pounds, for example, 200 pounds times 10 equals 2,000. So that is 2,000 calories per day for fat loss. All right. Now, we also want to calculate protein, because protein is going to help you recover from the gym. It's going to help you build muscle while you're training in the gym. And it's also going to help you feel fuller, especially when you diet on lower calories. Protein is the most filling macronutrient. So you're going to feel fuller eating more protein. All right. So quick one for protein. So it's anywhere within the range of 0.8 times your body weight. All right. So body weight in pounds times 0.8. The exact moments is between 0.7 and 1. So anywhere in between, I've just chose 0.8, right? So another example, 200 pound person times 0.8 is 160 grams. 160 grams of protein per day is what you need for your protein requirements, right? And they are the targets you want to stick to, okay? They might need to adjust over time. If you're accurate and the scales aren't moving down, then you kind of want to drop them a little bit. Or if your weight's coming up, you want to drop them even more. But this is a good guide and a good starting point for you to set your calories and set your protein to log and follow, right? So now we've got the calories, now we've got the protein. How do we put this all together and create the best environment for you to diet in, okay? And create that number one diet for you to lose body fat. And I like to call this the meal map method, right? And what this does is it makes it super, super simple, all right? You've got clear structure, clear boundaries, and a clear game plan, clear method for you to follow these calorie targets and stay consistent with them, okay? Which is not gonna be too restrictive for you. It's gonna be something that you can plan and adapt around your days, and it's something that's gonna work, and it's worked very well for a lot of my clients. It worked very well for myself as well, all right? So what is the meal map method then, right? It's almost going to be like your rule book, all right? It's going to help you stay prepared, stay consistent with your nutrition. Because for me, the biggest problem with diets and the biggest reason why people fail is because they can't stay consistent, okay? So, it's the wrong, there we go, that's the right thing, tech for you. So I'm going to show you exactly how we do this right here, right? So, and I'm basing it off this rule that on average, when you think about it, we all eat the same 5 to 10 meals on rotation. It says each day, but actually mean each week. I'll change that here. Each week, okay? So we all eat the same 5 to 10 meals on rotation through the week, right? So a lot of people think that you need to have all of this variety in your diets and with the food. But when you break it down, when you really think about it, we don't actually have that much variety at all. You end up recycling the same 5 to 10 meals over and over again until you get bored and change them out, right? So if we want to change our bodies and follow certain calorie targets that are going to put you in a calorie deficit and going to help you lose body fat, then all you need to do is tweak and change these 5 to 10 meals each day, each week to fit them goals. That is it, right? That's all you need to do, okay? And you will change if you can do that. So here's where we make our own meal map menu, okay? And this is how. So all you need to do here, draft out 2 to 3 meals for each occasion, right? So you have your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, and snacks, a couple of snacks, right? So you have 2 to 3 options and meals mapped out for breakfast, 2 to 3 options and meals mapped out for lunch, 2 to 3 options and meals mapped out for dinner, 2 to 3 options for snacks that you can have through the day. Okay, simple as that, because that is going to give you around that 5 to 10, maybe even a little bit more, 8 to 12 meals that you can rotate and you can work through. So you see what I mean? We're creating our own menu here, almost your own personal menu for fat loss, right? And then what you can do is when you get this, you might be thinking, all right, well, what meals do I choose? What meals should I have then? Okay, and here's how. So I want you to use this as a guide. Okay, and when you think about it, a lot of your meals that you will have will be based around this, okay? So here you go. You can keep this in mind when you're having to grab food on the go. You can keep this in mind when you are eating out at restaurants. You can keep this in mind for your meal prep and your meals day to day, right? But so we have the 3 main macronutrients. Well, aside from fruit and veg, but you've got your protein, you've got your carbohydrates, and you've got your fruit, veg, and salads, okay? So when you make your meals, design each meal around this. So first things first, protein, okay? So protein is the main meal. I want you to base all of your meals and all snacks around a protein source, okay? And then carbohydrates. This is optional, you don't have to, but you can add some carbohydrates in to your meal. I recommend it, especially if you're training in the gym, and carbs are not the enemy, but not necessary. And then some either fruit, veg, or salad with your meals, all right? So now what you can do is options that you can choose, because we want to be ideally choosing, solid food options that are going to help you with your fat loss. It's not like we're eating McDonald's and pizza all the time and filling your calories with that. We want to choose high quality, low processed sources of food, because they're going to help fill you up for longer, okay? Generally, you are going to get more bang for your buck with these foods, because usually they're going to be higher in volume and lower in calories, right? So protein, we want to look at lean protein sources. So protein sources that are low in fat, high in protein. Some examples of this will be chicken breast, white fish, beef, mince, salmon. Salmon's not a lean cut of meat, but salmon is super healthy for you. So I recommend having some of that in there if you like it. And things like whey protein as well, super simple, okay? Carbohydrates, you have your rice, your potatoes, your bread, in some ways, grains, oats, pasta, they're good options. And then with each meal, include either fruit on the side, some vegetables, or salad, right? Simple as that, okay? Now, when you think about it, a lot of meals come under these bases, they cover these bases. If you think of a spaghetti bolognese, you've got lean beef mince, you've got your pasta, and then you've got your tomatoes. You've got your chopped tomatoes, and you might put some onions in there too. So think about it. It's not just, you can just have like chicken, rice, veg, but you can also spice your meals up. You could have chicken wraps, you could have chicken, salad, and then you could have bread as a wrap to wrap it in there, okay? So you've got some variety here, you've got some options, okay? So a quick example, and how I would want you to kind of break this down into your day is I want you to think, if your calories are 2,000 calories a day and 160 grams of protein, then all you need is 2 to 3 options for each meal, right? Break your calories into and split them up through these meals. So you could have 600 calorie, 45 gram protein breakfast, 600 calorie, 45 gram protein lunch, 600 calorie, 45 gram protein dinner, okay? And then that'll leave you with 200 calories left for a 200 calorie snack that you can have optionally through the day with 25 grams of protein, right? And there, you've hit your calories for the day, you've covered your bases, and you've got getting your protein in, and then you can make good choices and good options from it. So an example, 600 calorie breakfast with 45 grams of protein, you could have 0% fat Greek yogurt, a little bit of granola for the carbs, and then you could have a piece of fruit on there too, okay? For your lunch, chicken breast, rice, vegetables, protein, carb, veg, yeah? Dinner, you could have a beef steak, potatoes for the carbs, vegetables with it too, or some broccoli with it. And then your snack, you can have a protein bar, you can have a piece of fruit, okay? So super, super simple when you break it down, yeah? And just as a note, it doesn't have to be exact, and that's the beauty of it, okay? You can make the calorie and the protein amounts work for you through the day. You could have a larger breakfast, a smaller breakfast, a larger dinner, a smaller lunch, a larger snack, a smaller dinner, as long as you hit your calories at the end of the day and you're within your calories and you've hit your protein or you're above your protein. That's great. Okay, so you can kind of make it work for you. All you need to do is spend a little bit of time, sit down and map these meals out and track them in accordance, and you'll be fine, okay? And then the last rule for consistency here, meal prep. Because if you fail to prepare to fail. If you're a busy person, you're going to work, you've got a busy work life, you don't have the time to cook every single meal bit by bit, then this is going to be a game changer, okay? You've got readily available food available for the week or the coming days. It reduces that decision fatigue because you have food made and ready. You don't have to think, what shall I have for dinner? It's like, no, I have my meal prep ready for dinner that I can have, yeah? It gives you one less excuse when you get in from them days from work, when you're tired, when you're shattered, and you really want to order in, but you've got that meal prep sat there in the fridge. That's where you can go for without thinking. It prepares you to stay on track. you know, when you're busy, and it saves you time cooking as well, okay? So, and an easy way to do this, what I recommend to my guys, my clients, is block out 90 minutes twice a week, right? Once on a Sunday, once during the week, on your rest day from the gym or something, and that's when you can batch cook and you can prepare some meals in advance to keep you on track through the week, you know? You could batch cook all your dinners for the week. You could prepare your lunches for work, or you could even make sure you've got some healthy options in at home that's gonna keep you on track and take you closer to your goals. So you can make this work around you and your life and how you want to, and what's gonna help you stay the most consistent, all right? So as a recap on all of this, work out your calories and protein first so that you're in a calorie deficit, you get enough protein in. Map out your meals, 2 to 3 options per occasion. Breakfast, lunch and dinner, couple of snacks. Set aside some time to meal prep and prepare your meals in advance. And then what you have is a nice log of 10 to 12 good meals that fit your macro targets, that you can rinse and repeat, and that you can use and that you can meal prep week in, week out, to help you stick with your calories and stick with your protein, which is going to help you lose weight. In my opinion, this has worked super well with my clients. This is one of my best ways and one of the best diets that you can use to lose body fat. Guys, hope you found this video useful. I hope it can help you find that consistency with your diet. And I hope you can find this as something that you can make work around your life and work for you too. Again, like I say, this has been a game changer for a lot of my clients, and I thought it's only right to share it with you guys too and help you out. If you've enjoyed the video, you want to watch more content, I'm going to leave a video at the top which is going to go into more detail of how you can use this and how you can balance your calories and your nutrition around things like eating out. I'm going to share one of the main methods again that I use with my clients to help them do this, and I'll leave the video up right here as shown for you to watch if you want. If you've not subscribed to the channel already, drop me a subscribe, it would help, and I'll see you guys in the next one.